Good evening everyone, and welcome to our panel discussion. My name is Victor and I will be acting as your moderator tonight. And in this session we would like to paint a picture of what it's like to have come to the UK as an asylum seeker. So the basis of this session is to shed some light on the situations that we've all had in our respective countries, and what's led us to leave our countries and come to the UK and seek asylum. So to begin, I'd like to talk about my story, and my friends will talk about their stories for a couple of minutes, and then we'll open the floor up to the audience and we'd be happy to take questions from you. I'd just like to say at this point that we might not be able to answer all of your questions, but please don't let that stop you. Send in all of the questions, ask anything, and we'll determine what's appropriate to answer. So to begin, my name is Victor, like I said, and I'm from Nigeria. I'm a gay man. And my story's been a bit of a topsy-turvy one. So I came to the UK for the first time in January of 2013 as a student. I went to Coventry University here in the city, which, hopefully everybody in this room knows about, at least. And when I came to the UK, and I came here as a student, I was able to come out openly for the first time. I found a culture that was very different, vastly different from the culture that I had been raised in. I found a culture that was accepting, that was not just tolerant, but was actually accepting of people who were different. I found that I could actually come out openly and say that I was gay and still be a productive member of society, which was very different from the culture back in Nigeria. And so I came out. I got into a relationship, I got with relationships actually, story for another day. And I became very active within the LGBT community. I joined the LGBT society at my university, where thankfully I was elected onto the committee. I joined a number of other LGBT organisations within Coventry. I'd been on pride marches. I'd put together an LGBT event that was meant to shed light on the issues around LGBT people in different parts of the world. And after university, when I went back home, it became very apparent that there was no room for me there. As somebody who was out, I had a lot of problems with my family, with the government and the police, and with the wider society. And so after having been home for only 10 months, I realised that I was going to have to leave. So I came back to the UK and I sought asylum as an asylum seeker. And really that's, my story in a nutshell. I'll pass it on to you.
My name is Hafiz Rahman. I'm from Bangladesh. I'm gay man. I come to UK 2008. And when I come to this country, actually I don't know about how I'm come here. My partner was sending me here. When I come to UK, and on the Heathrow airport I'm coming, and I'm losing my passport. And one day, whole day I was crying there, and I didn't speak as well. I don't know any person is there. So end of night, I think so 4 or 5 o'clock, I can't exactly remember at this day. Some guy of coming to my country, he was talking about Bengali. So I just tell him to please help me. I haven't got anything. I lose my passport. Someone took my passport, and he was helping me. He took me with his car. He's come to all the way Coventry, and I stay with his house first day, and then morning I don't know what time I will be. I get up for his house, and I lose his house. Just a few minutes of work, I don't know, it's just, and I saw it's like every house is same as here. It's like every door, every house is like brick house. I've completely lost. Then I walk around in the road, and I'm so hungry as well. I feel cry, and myself is very. I saw in some places in food and sweet kind of things. I went to this door. I'm going to inside, and I didn't speak this time as well. I just show in my hand. I need some food, and one guy of them, sick guy, he was giving to me some food. I was just sitting here till, I don't know exactly, till closing time, end of midnight. He was to closing his shop, and he said, "You need to be go now." And I start crying. I said, "I haven't got place to go anywhere." And he was taking me upstairs. His building was 2-flat building. So he said, "You can stay here tonight. And when I'm coming to, I will spoke to you about how." And I said, I didn't understand what he's saying. I'm just crying, and I just showing to him. I just want to. I'll stay anyway. Then he was closing his plate. He'll take me upstairs, and I'm living there is like till 8 years, 10 years now. And then I didn't speak as well, like 5-6 years. And I'm going out for this shop and just chat with the people, and people didn't understand. Nobody talk to me as well. I'm just going to my room back home. Then I slowly I try to speak English, catch up little bit language. Then I'm going to asylum 2017. One of his housemate was telling to how we come to this country and how we stay here. And I said to him about blah blah blah, I'm coming to this situation and this. I don't know how to make asylum as well. I couldn't speak as well. He was showing me to how to make asylum, and then I make asylum 2017. Then was this building was sick man was renting to our community people, and next day was he's coming to and telling about who are you and why you stay here, and I just speak to him Bengali. I am this man and I am like this, and couple of days he say you can't stay here. I need to rent house. You need to go somewhere. So why I need to spoke to this man. He said this man was selling this house to me. So I say I need to see one time for him. I know I haven't got any place to go anywhere. What's the problem? I tell him a bit of my true story for him, and I feel he didn't like me because I am gay, and who was Muslim guy. And then I was going to interview after this, and I think so my story was a bit long, but sorry to say about this. And I'm going to interview and ask the Home Office. I need to very urgent somewhere stay. And the Home Office was keeping me like couple of hours. I can't give you at the moment, so you need to go back to your home. And I said, I need urgent. There's somebody calling me next day morning. I'm coming to in Coventry, and somebody was calling me morning, and I didn't understand it. So I said, I need to interpreter. Who are you? And then I will speak to interpreter and say, we need support for social worker. So she was come to me morning about 12 o'clock, bring me some interpreter. So she want support me. She give me clothes and she give me a stay for the house in Coventry. I feel like I'm so happy. I try to forget everything because I've so suffered. My life is going to behind. Back home as well, my family doesn't upset me when I have to get. Family kick out me in the house. I like my partner who was support me. I stay with him couple of years, and then when I got here, and then when I got house, and then she was trying to help me. She put in the learning to English class, the ESOL class. I catch up, like I start 2017, and I started in the town GCC center.
college?
First was I studied in the
City College, right?
yes, City College is last year. I said yeah. And then I come to City College, and I was learning English, and I feel I've not improved my language. So continue, I do it still now. So and I'm going to out to the UK when I find that in the group and pride for everywhere, and I feel like my home is here. I forget everything. Thank you so much.
So my name is MiFriendly Cities. I'm a gay man from Cameroon. It's quite a painful story for me, finding myself here in the UK. When I'm saying that because I wasn't actually prepared coming here in the UK, but out of the story that happened, I had to find myself here in the UK. Back in my country, talking about the rights of the LGBT is totally out of question. It's something which doesn't exist. It's an abomination. It's quite unfortunate that I belong to that social class. I had my partner, we've been for like 20 years since back I was in boarding school. It was an unfaithful day that someone had to bash into my house. We were having something to do, and then they had to fall on us, and we found ourselves at the police station. So while I was at the police station, we were detained, beaten, and it was really bad. So my partner lost a lot of blood, and he was taken to the hospital. As a result of that, he lost his life. So I was left in the cell. The police commissioner came to me and tried to talk to me, and then I had to notice that he too was part of me, because he too was a gay man. And he decided that, he told me that if I accept to have an affair with him, he's going to help me out. That's what he told me. So out of that, he was assaulting me sexually like that. And then he finally came up to me and told me that, see, I can help you to leave the country, but you're going to pay me some money. He didn't tell me any particular destination where I would go to. Later on, he said, okay, I've chosen the UK as a particular destination. I'm having a first degree already, so he had to apply for me as a student, knowing that getting a student visa is quite easier in my country compared to a visit visa. So he had to apply for a master's program for me to come here to the UK. And when he applied for the program, I had to prepare for the interview. That's how I found myself here in the UK. So when I came to the UK, I knew virtually nobody. I came via the Birmingham airport. I was like stranded. All I was looking for was the LGBT center. So I met someone on the way. The person is from Ghana. He showed me the LGBT center. I explained my story to him, like I know nobody in the UK, and he actually took me to his house, accommodated me. When I came to the LGBT center, I had to find out about things concerning the LGBT people, and from there I knew about the out in the UK, here in Coventry. That is how I started adapting, and honestly, I've really found a home that I did not find back in my country, because I've been here just for 4 months, but I actually feel comfortable associating with the LGBT people back in Birmingham, here in Coventry. I feel like I got that family that I did not get back home, because even my family back home did not know that I was this kind of person. I've been living in hiding and all the like. And I even left the country without their notice and all the like. If I can smile today, it really makes me happy, honestly. So that is my story.
My name is Saeed. I'm from Pakistan. I'm Gambian. And my story is a little bit different. I'm married. I have 3 children. But I will still try to, in Pakistan, and change myself, but I do nothing. And I do something gig scene after I crime, and I finish myself, but I do change myself, and I still a gay man. After I come 2011 here, and especially come from gay men open here, but unfortunately I don't speak English now as well as and I will go Birmingham city center, but I can't speak anybody from the Asian people. I sky from the Asian people, and I don't speak from the English people. It just I not speak, and not explain to him what is the problem. But the 2012, the Home Office catch me and he said, "What's the problem?" I said, "Blah blah blah. Just I want to learn English after, but I do some mistake. Who can I learn English? I'm not live with the English people." And after 2015, the Home Office again catch me. He said, "Why you want to bake your house?" I say, "I'm not baking my house, and I'm a gay man, and blah 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 blah." He said, "Okay." After this time, I go my solicitor. He said there is one in the LGBT center, and I don't know about the lesbian as well. I say myself as a gay man, and I don't know the lesbian and general transgender, what's the name is the LGBT, the bisexual. But now I'm the open man, and I joined the Pride, current Coventry Pride, Manchester Pride, and Birmingham Pride, and I joined the what's the name, the Rainbow Spirit, and I went to SLM Health Group as well, and I went in front in a church, Birmingham, and now I make more happy and more confidence and more lot of I have there have some lot of club, and there have I have lot of friends, something relationship with him, and I'm very happy now.
I think is the first question. I'll start with you.
Yeah.
To mark Refugee Week, what are your impressions of life in the United Kingdom since you were a student first, and then you came back as an asylum seeker? So to mark Refugee Week, what are your impressions of life in the UK as an asylum seeker?
Well, I think there's two things. So life in the UK was very different as a student than it was as an asylum seeker. Because as a student, I had a purpose. I had studies to do, I was a part of communities, I felt welcome. I was able to work, I had my studies funded, so I had, somewhere to live, I had things to do. There was a real purpose to my existence in the UK. And so it was a very vastly different experience than when I was an asylum seeker. Because coming back to the UK as an asylum seeker, after university I'd had quite a bit of work experience. At some point I'd even started my own business back home. So I'd come back, on a visit visa to attend my graduation. I'd come back with a chunk of money. And the plan when I came back to the UK was only to be here for a month. And after I was here for a few days, I realised there was nowhere I could go back. So I had to seek asylum. A few months after I sought asylum, I'd very quickly run out of money. I'd very quickly run out of friends' couches to sleep on, and so I found myself homeless for the first time ever in my life. I found a different side of society, a society that was more judgmental and less welcoming. It felt like being in a completely different country. It felt like two very different countries. I was not allowed to work. I was treated with suspicion and with downright disgust by the officials in the Home Office, and I lost a lot of faith in humanity. So it was, for the first time ever, I found myself unable to support myself, even though I was very educated and I had a lot of work experience and I had a lot of potential. And so I felt like scum of society. After a while, after I'd been in a homeless shelter, I then got accepted for Home Office support and I got put in a hostel. And everyone else was moving on from the hostel after about 3 weeks, and I was there for 2 months, you know, and I kept getting refused, you know, for further support because I had not come here with no money, you know. And then I finally got accepted into a house after I'd come down with chickenpox. And then they realised that it was too much of a risk to leave me in the hostel with, you know, pregnant women and children and other vulnerable people, and they could get into trouble for it. All of a sudden, after, you know, refusal upon refusal, I got a house in 12 hours just because I had chickenpox, and I was there for a year. And I found a bit of normalcy because I had a roof, I had somewhere to go, I could cook my own food, and then after being there for a year, I got moved again quite abruptly from Birmingham, where I'd started to make a life, to West Bromwich. And the things, you know, I'd started to try to make the place home as much as possible. The people who'd come to do the move broke most of my furniture, wouldn't allow me to take a lot of things. It was a very, you know, difficult experience, and I found that even trying to speak to people, nobody would talk to you. And all they would say is, well, this is the instructions that we have and we'll follow them. You know, I was trying to salvage just my pots and a few things in the rubble, and they were throwing more stuff from upstairs. You know, it was really horrific. They wouldn't tell me how I was going. They said they weren't allowed. It was their policy to not tell you where you were moving to. So I got put in the van, and, you know, 14 minutes later I was in West Bromwich, in a place where I didn't know. So I think there was a lot of inhumanity. It was very inhumane, the experience as an asylum seeker, which was, you know, very different than what I had as a student.